Stressologist. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure I've got everything on mute. Thank you for joining me. Golly gosh, taking on judgment. Is this healthy? Is an interesting one for me. Is this live? Yes, it is. Okay, couldn't quite see. Welcome, Global Stressologist Debs Cooper. Clearly not stressed at all if this is going live or not. Thanks for joining me. So I would love you to give me a like, a love, an emoji, what you call it, to let me know you're on the call, if this is a replay or not. So today we're talking about taking on judgment and is this healthy? So I would love you to write in the comments when you start writing this, is it healthy? There's three answers to that. There's yes, there's no, and then there's maybe. Yes, no, maybe. So let me know that you're on here and it's yes, no, or maybe, because I would love to know if by the end of this video you're going to change your mind or not. So first, let me tell you what the meaning of judgment is. So let me just read this. The ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. Now, there's one word in there that annoys me a little bit. Sensible. Okay, that could be mature, that could be not mature. But the ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. Number two, the meaning of judgment is a misfortunate or calamity viewed as a divine punishment. So judgment was actually quite an interesting one. When I thought about divine punishment, I was like, wow, I didn't realize when people give you judgment that you have to take that on as divine punishment, which also goes down the path of karma. Interesting one there. So I came up with 7 questions on about whether this is yes, no, or a maybe. So number one is, these are the questions that I ask myself when I get judgment thrown at me. And just for the record, judgment is just a word. It's just a word. So why is it important? Why? So we ask ourselves, is it something that we're stressed over or we're shattered? And when I talk about shattered, I talk about emotionally or physically shattered. Is it something that we just are so exhausted we actually can't make a decision? Or the timing is so quick and crucial, you have to make a decision right here, right now, and is the timing so tight that you actually can't make that decision? So step one is, why is that important? The next thing is, who are they who's given you that judgment? Oops, moving the desk. Who are they? So we're talking about, are they above you? Do you see them as somebody in leadership or somebody above you, and what power do they have over you? Or do you see someone below you and you have the power over them? Because these are the important questions to ask to see if this is actually, you're going to do a yes, no, or a maybe. So are they above you in your mind, or are they below you? And when they're above you, you actually want to know what power do they have over you. That's quite an important one. Number 3 is, what they're saying, is it reasonable? And when I say reasonable, is it rational, reasonable? Is it sensible? Is it personal? What they're giving you, the advice, is it personable to you, or is it actually decent advice? Because some people have stories of the past and they bring them in when they tell you your stuff. So is it actually their personable stuff that they're bringing in, or is it actually decent advice? And this one was an interesting one I came up with this morning, is, would you give this advice to somebody else? If they were in that same situation, would you give that advice to someone else? Is your ego getting in the way of doing it? Now, the ego is an interesting one. So we do have that ego, and that could be seen as cockiness. So for me, if someone says you can't do that, instantly, no matter what it's over, my shoulders go back and go, oh, all I heard was challenge. And those people who know me well will hear me say that and go, That's definitely Deborah. Oh, challenge. So that could be your ego. So did you just hear challenge, that cockiness, or is it actually your ego getting in the way of you doing it? Or because it goes back to that last question, is it sound advice? Is it breaking the law? And so when I talk about breaking the law, is this important for breaking the law? Because I know some people who are not bothered by breaking the law if they do something. So is it breaking the law? Is that important to you and those around you? Will a legal issue hinder you on something if you do get caught? And if you don't get caught, can you live with the guilt of this? Oh, planes flying low over me. Can you live with the guilt of this? Because so breaking the law, to me, some things are important and some things aren't important. But there's morals and ethics, which is different to breaking the law. So will the legal issue hinder you? So if I got myself into trouble with the law and couldn't travel, that would definitely be a hinder for me. So it's wise to look at that. Is it breaking the law? Jump back to the other one. Is it your ego that's going to get you away with this or not? And who are you going to peeve off if you do this? Who are you going to peeve off if you do this? So when I think about this, these are the people that you put above you. Remember we talked about this before. Who are they? These are the people we put above you. You're more likely going to peeve them off and you're going to be more upset about them than those who are below you. And then the last one is, what are you going to do about it? When you've made the decision, what actually are you going to do about it? Are you going to take action or are you not? So it's entirely up to you. What I'd love to do is I'd love to just go through these questions with you. I'm just going to talk about these questions with you because I had a few incidents recently about people that were judging me. And remember, judgment is just a word. So one was, and I just thought it might share and might help you open your eyes a little bit more. There was a lady in a grocery shop, and I went into a veggie shop, and I'd been dressed up that day, and I'd had my full cake of makeup on. It was quite a warm day, and I went to a fruit and veggie shop. Nothing out of the norm, pretty simple. And the lady said to me, I saw as I walked in, I smiled at her, went over this side, she stayed on her side. It was quite a small veggie shop. And she said to me, "Oh, you're very dressed up. Oh no, you're very glamorous today." And I thought, yeah, I am, because I've been on video and I've been doing things. And so I said, "Oh, yes, I have. Thank you." And she said it wasn't a compliment. And at that time, I was really surprised. It wasn't a compliment. And I said, "Oh, well, I'll take it as one." And then I got served. When I say got served, I got served by the gentleman. And then I carried on and then left the shop and smiled at her and thanked them both as I walked out. Now, that was clearly judgment. From what she said to me was clearly judgment. So if I go back to my 7 questions, why is it important? Is it important that she commented on my clothes and how I looked? The answer is no. It wasn't important. It wasn't important to my day or anything. It wasn't. Who are they? They're a complete stranger. They're not somebody I looked up to, not somebody I looked below. They're a complete stranger who just said her piece. Well done to her saying her piece. Do they sound reasonable? I'm going to say no. She didn't sound reasonable at all, which is interesting because she may have thought she was sounding reasonable. So this is not her perception of the scenario. This is totally mine. Do I think she sounded reasonable? No frickin' way. Is my ego getting in the way of taking in her stuff? No. Maybe. Is it breaking the law, what she did or what I did? No. Am I going to peeve anyone off by changing that scenario? No. And who really cares about it? And what am I going to do about it? Nothing. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to carry on with my day. Although I did have a giggle and had a chat to a couple of friends about it, and we talked about this, and that's how this Facebook Live topic came about. So maybe a little bit with those answers, there's a little bit of ego in there. I definitely didn't hear challenge. I was more perplexed and confused at why she would even say that. That's probably my thing. So that's just one scenario, because there's going to be different scenarios. There was another scenario I had when I did many years ago. I put a business proposal together to a gentleman, and I was super excited about it. So I'm going to give you these 7 answers to this. So I put the offering to this person. I offered a heck of a lot. I even offered the 6 free steak knives, as we call it. And I got the rejection, the don't come back Monday type scenario. Well, actually, he did actually offer me to come back. He also said to me, come back when you value yourself. And so my 7 questions are, why is it important? So for me, it was important to listen to his judgment, because it was something about giving me certainty that I can deliver the work, which was my self-reassurance, and to get a foot in the door where I had never been before. So why is it important? It was important to listen to that. Who are they? It was a company that I put above me, that I saw amazing opportunities from. So I saw more value with them than the next door. Do they sound reasonable? Absolutely. And I do think they sounded reasonable in him giving me that judgment, feedback, because I was offering my soul for very little. I was offering to give for very little. So absolutely, he sounded reasonable. Was my ego getting in the way? No, but I was hurt. I was definitely hurt at that moment when he rejected me, when he gave me judgment, when he gave me some feedback, whatever word you want to use. Was it breaking the law? No, he was speaking his truth, which is something I love. I was speaking my truth. Who am I going to peeve off if I did it? So I thought about this, and I actually was back in the day, I thought about this, and I thought, well, maybe there are other people who are doing the same kind of work as me, which is about me being self-righteous, because as we know, no one can actually deliver the work like you do. You know that you're the only one out there who can deliver the work the way you do. So that could say it was a little bit of an egotistical answer. What am I going to do about it? So at that moment, I stepped out the door and doubled my prices. Right at that moment, I went, I'm going from this price to this price, right at this moment, to value myself. Then I started, of course, having a waiver at that. And so I got an amazing friend in Sydney, actually, who helped smash any illusion I had. So thank you to that friend who just had a birthday the other day. She knows who she is. So you'll notice that in the different scenarios, there's a lady in the grocery shop was different to the business proposal. There's lots of different things, and each scenario is different. And I'm going to give you another quick one right now, because this one came up in a conversation with a lady this week. So she was having trouble with her ex-partner. They're both parents, and there was some conflict in the conversation. She perceived that this person had given her some judgment. So why is it important? We're going back to the 7 questions. Why is it important? So it was important because her desire was to get unity amongst the family, to see that they're in alignment and they're on the same platform. So it's important to listen to that judgment, feedback, conversation. Who are they? Are they a current or an ex? This is definitely an ex-partner who doesn't live in the house anymore, and he was giving his advice, judgment, advice, whatever you want to call it. Do they sound reasonable? Maybe. Some of the points were reasonable, some of the points weren't reasonable. So as I'm doing this, think of yourself clearly as well. So is your ego getting in the way of doing it? I'm going to say yes. In that instance, there was a little bit of ego, like, because it is that hurt. They throw it at you and you do feel a little bit of hurt, which is actually just your emotion. And the idea is to dissolve that as quick as you possibly can. Is it breaking the law? No. What they were going to do was not breaking the law at all. Who are they going to peeve off? Is it themselves or is it the ex-partner? So be aware of that. Who are they going to peeve off? Is it themselves or the ex-partner? And what are they going to do about it? Because, you know, we talked about the final one is take action or not. So there's a process I have called the Deb's decision process. I'll put a link in here so you can have a look at that. It's on my website. Once you've done that, you can then decide whether you're going to do it or not. That decision process is actually really great for any decision that you're wavering on. And I think that's an important one, to know that you can make decisions from your heart and not worry about upsetting other people, because that's what it's about. So you'll know there was 3 different scenarios I gave you on taking on judgment and is this healthy, and some of them could have been a yes, some of them could have been a no, and some of them could have been a maybe. So if you have changed your mind, has your first option changed, throw it in the scenario, throw it in the comments here. Don't jump in and make a decision because your last decision was a yes. Just work out what's the best way for this scenario right now. So I'd love to know if it's a yes, no, or maybe, and jump that in the comments. And I'm also just going to quickly say I woke up this morning with a super duper uber freaking exciting idea for people to work with me in November. So if you were interested in that, send me a message, comment here, heck yes, let me know. I will send you some info. Super excited, distracted my morning a little bit. So thank you. Thank you for coming here. Taking on judgment. Is this healthy? Yes, no, or maybe. Thanks for joining me. Debs Kluper, Global Stressologist. I will see you on the circuit.